Here's some pretty heavy information for you guys. I'm a nerd. As hard as that is to believe, it's true. And I love palindromes. Those words or phrases that are the same backwards and forwards. And it was a good few years before I learned that Girafarig's name is a palindrome. And the beta sprite that was leaked a few years ago even has the giraffe Pokemon in this weird cat dog setup. Do any of y'all even know what I mean when I say cat dog? Am I old? Anyways, Girafarig is one of my friend's favorite Pokemon, and it's one of those Gen 2 single Pokemon that you may not remember. But that's not this guy's fault. Look at that cute little face. And slightly less cute face at the back. Girafarig's stats are pretty solid all around. Since it's normal psychic, I can take advantage of the physical and special attack stat very nicely. The lowest stats are defense and special defense at 65, but there's been some Pokemon where their highest stat was lower than this number, so I'm totally fine with this. Level up moves are pretty standard, and TM moves are aplenty, so I've got plenty to work with in this playthrough. Let's talk about the rules for the run here. I will only be using Girafarig in battle. HM users have to be caught to progress through the game, but I won't be using them in battle. I won't be using items in battle either. This includes items like potions, X items, etc. Held items are fine because these have to be prepared ahead of time. And finally, I will not be evolving Girafarig, which in case you didn't know, is completely a joke. I am very well aware that it doesn't evolve, but I always get at least one comment saying a certain Pokemon doesn't evolve when I make this joke, so just putting that out there. I use the Pokemon randomizer to replace Cyndaquil with Girafarig so that my rival will get Feraligatr. The reason for this is that Feraligatr will learn Bite down the road. And, fun fact, my rival's Feraligatr forgets Bite when you battle him at Victory Road, but later in Mount Moon for the optional battle, it relearns Bite. That just seems really cool to me for some reason. Our lovely little Girafarig is named after my friend Riley, and his name in the game is Riley. I'm just gonna stick with Riley. Starting out, we get Confusion and Stomp. 2 stab moves to take advantage of both attack stats, meaning I'm gonna have to try to do poorly at this point in the game. Our rival, who I named Ratstar, is no match for the first battle. I literally just used Confusion and won. And this is just me thinking out loud, but they could have done something really sick by giving Totodile and its line the Dark type too. I didn't even go through the Bellsprout Tower, all you get is the Flash HM. I went straight for Faulkner, and would you believe it? He wasn't a tough challenge. The only thing that could have possibly worried me was if he went for Mud Slap a few times and wrecked my accuracy, but he didn't. So, yeah. Now, I'm not saying that I thought Bugsy was going to be a cakewalk, but I honestly thought the battle would be a little bit harder. Metapod and Kakuna obviously weren't tough, but the Scyther certainly wasn't going down easily. The big problem was that I speed-tied with Scyther, so I couldn't depend on attacking first. I tried out Growl a few times to lower the attack of Fury Cutter, but it didn't really buy me any extra turns to attack. The power stacks way too quickly. I started going for Stomp instead, and when I attacked first, I won with no problem. Also, Bugsy always threw out Scyther second in battle, so the Kakuna battle afterwards was just a little awkward. Ratstar's second battle was beyond easy. Ghastly and Zubat are weak to Confusion, and Croconaw doesn't have Bite yet, so it couldn't deal heavy damage to me at all. So long, Ratstar. Whitney's battle wasn't that hard. Clefairy metronomed in a Leech Seed, and that could have been disastrous, but it didn't amount to too much. Her Miltank, while initially threatening, went down quickly to Stomp and Confusion. It helped that it missed a rollout, but still, I would have survived. And because I have Confusion, and all of Morty's ghosts are part poison, this gym battle went exactly as you probably thought it would. Yeah. The rival battle in the Burnt Tower was still no problem. I don't even know if Croconaw would have been an issue because I made it flinch. It's really a shame that the Silver rival battle is hardly ever a challenge. I wasn't sure if Chuck was going to be an issue because even though I'm part Psychic, I'm part normal too. Confusion took out Primeape, and I confused Poliwrath, and even though it didn't even attack itself, it used Mind Reader, so that would have let him get Dynamic Punch off next turn, but he didn't survive the next turn. And just in case you thought this entire video was going to be me talking about how overpowered I was, you're in luck. We finally hit our first roadblock of the run, Jasmine. Seriously, I've always had more trouble with her than I've had with Whitney and her Miltank. Whitney can be trouble if you're terribly unprepared, for sure, but there's only so many ways to effectively deal damage to Steelix. Her Magnemite are way more annoying than they have any right to be. I taught Riley Mudslap to deal super effective damage and lower its accuracy, but it felt like I always got paralyzed by these jerks, and if I was paralyzed, there was no way to make it past Steelix. The play here was to use Stomp on Magnemite and hope I flinched it, then use Mudslap to finish it off. When I did make it to Steelix, Mudslap was a must so that I could make it miss Iron Tail, and this move already has less than perfect accuracy, but it seemed like it always hit me, no matter how many Mudslaps I hit it with. It took maybe 30 minutes to win this one. I had to grind a few levels too. I used Mudslap a few times, then used Rock Smash to lower its defense. I had to seriously depend on Iron Tail missing to win this one. Jasmine always has a Hyper Potion too, so just when I got Steelix to red health, it would get right back on its feet. I mean, its metaphorical feet. But eventually Iron Tail missed enough times. I did not particularly enjoy that, I'll be real. The Rocket Hideout has nothing interesting happen, and I'm going to use this moment to talk about how much of a shame that is. They went out of their way to give 2 of these rockets unique sprites, but their levels are lower than Jasmine's entire team. I'm glad the remakes gave them more unique sprites and names, and more competent teams. Price's gym was beyond easy. I had Rock Smash just in case I really needed a super effective move, but the Stab Psybeam was the best tool to break the ice with. Just like the Rocket Hideout, the Radio Tower Takeover was just as easy. Having a Psychic type to take out the Poison types, it was just a cakewalk. The rival battle in the Underground of Goldenrod was finally interesting. I was a little worried about Sneasel, but it went down easily. I'm talking about Feraligatr surviving a hit and using a Bite, except it did so little damage to me, so it wasn't really that interesting. Clair was even an easy battle. It took 2 tries though, and that was just because Psybeam wasn't strong enough to take out Dragonair in 1 hit. And then I took a Thunder Wave. If her Dragonair didn't have this move, this battle would be 100% easier, no matter what Pokemon you're using. I even came close to winning this time. Her team doesn't do an insane amount of damage. The second try I went for Stomp instead of Psybeam, and that was what I should have done from the get-go. Now that I think about it, a giraffe stomping on you probably would hurt pretty bad. One of those things you never really think about. But yeah, stomped her team out. The final rival battle was actually interesting this time, and I really mean it. But that was mainly because I made a somewhat foolish play. I got rid of Mudslap for Crunch and used Rock Smash on Magneton. It lived, and I got hit with Thunder Wave. I took out the rest of his team, but Kadabra set up a Future Sight that hit me down the road. Getting paralyzed 1 turn and Feraligatr using Slash over and over made things very tense, but I mopped up the team after that. It's hard to believe it, but we're already at the Elite Four, and the battle with Will was insanely easy. Crunch took care of his team with 0 problem. Jinx is the only thing that just barely survived, but its Ice Punch tickled a tiny little bit. In Koga's battle, I actually lost against Koga. Psybeam took Ariados out no problem, but Forretress is incredibly tanky. I tried Rock Smash a few times, but never got the defense drop, and then it exploded. So I battled Will again, won, and then tried again on Koga. This time I used Rock Smash and the defense lowered twice. Stomping on the bug took it out before it could explode, thankfully. Psybeam absolutely wrecked the rest of the team, seeing that they're all part poison. And this sprite for Crobat in Gold version is just so derpy. I love this thing. Bruno, believe it or not, took 2 tries too. Onix and Hitmontop are dumb, but Machamp has just enough health to survive Psybeam, and it got a critical cross chop on me. I should have won the battle after that, but Hitmonchan used Mach Punch, and honestly, I never knew there was a quick attack version for fighting moves. That's something I really should have known. Next attempt, and Psybeam took care of everything I needed it to. This really shouldn't have been the Elite Four to have any sort of trouble with. Karen's battle concerned me, but I felt prepared for it. Umbreon went down in 2 stomps but got 1 Sand Attack on me, and we all know how much I love Sand Attack. Murkrow and Houndoom went down without a fight luckily, and Vileplume and Gengar are part poison. So, Psybeam. Yeah. Lance's battle actually took a few tries. Gyarados has Bite, and that's never a great move to get hit by, but it couldn't cripple me too badly. The issue comes in when his Dragonite uses Thunder Wave, just like Clair's Dragonair. If I could take it out in one hit, I'd be fine, but it always takes at least 2 stomps to beat the Flying Dragons. I can only take 2 Hyper Beams, 3 max, and I'm just not prepared to take out the rest of the team after that. When I would reach Aerodactyl, it only takes 2 Psybeams to take it out, but it can deal heavy damage to me with Hyper Beam too. I decided to go and get a Paralyzed Cure Berry so that I have some sort of advantage during the battle, but this came at the cost of using the pink bow I had on Riley. So Stomp isn't going to be as strong as it normally was, but at least now I can take 1 Thunder Wave. It only took 2 tries with the berry now, and getting 1 or 2 levels going through the Elite Four again. Gyarados flinched, so I took no damage here. Luckily, Dragonite number 1 missed its Thunder Wave, so I took no damage here too, and got to keep my berry. Dragonite number 2 did the exact same thing, and missed Thunder Wave. So maybe I didn't even need the berry here? Now that I have full health, Aerodactyl isn't near as intimidating, and I got a critical Psybeam that helped out a lot. Charizard survived Stomp and hit me with Flamethrower, but it barely did anything. The final Dragonite survived 1 Stomp, hit with a pretty strong Outrage, but the next turn went down, and the Pokemon Champion has been defeated. Per the usual Gen 2 run, the Kanto Gym Leaders are never an issue. Blue is the only one that could possibly be a challenge, but even then, the times that happens is so few and far between. We want the big guy, Red. But let me introduce you to the team we got here. Sometimes I show the HM users, but this team I really needed to show off. We've got Taco Cat the Togepi, Rotator the Oddish, Racecar the Tauros, Bob the Hoot Hoot, and Hannah the Psyduck. Do you get it? Hopefully you do. Otherwise, I am certifiably a nutjob. So the battle with Red. There's only one Pokemon that actually caused trouble here. Stomp takes out Pikachu no problem. Having Crunch is very nice to deal with Espeon, but it always takes 2 hits. If it hits with Psychic, it stings. It doesn't hurt real bad, but it definitely leaves a mark. Sometimes it sets up Reflect, and that's bad for what's up next. Snorlax is the main annoyance here. My goal was to use Rock Smash a few times. Snorlax is bulky, and even Psychic doesn't deal too much damage. Sometimes Rock Smash would lower defense, but most of the time it seemed like it wouldn't, and it felt like every time it used Body Slam, I got paralyzed. I kept the pink bow on Riley, but I needed some extra health left over. So naturally, I grabbed the leftovers. Using Rock Smash on Snorlax was the best thing to do, and just pray that it lowered the defense. Stomp is good after 1 or 2 defense drops because it hits so much harder, and it can even cause some flinching. This isn't even in my script, but now that I'm thinking about it, had Snorlax used Rest, I might have gotten a few extra turns to get 1 or 2 defense drops on it. And that would have been very fortunate. Charizard is really annoying. Not nearly as bad as Snorlax, but its Flamethrower is deadly. I made it here a few times, but with leftovers, it ensured that I lived through the battle. Blastoise's Hydro Pump can hit hard. Surf isn't the best move for it to use, but it never causes too much of an issue. And the one time that I reached Venusaur, I won, and I got a critical hit with Psychic. So, that's probably how that battle was always gonna go. Long story short, you can in fact beat Pokemon Gold with just a Girafarig. Just make sure you have a team of palindromes to back it up. I wasn't expecting this one to be really hard, and I was more or less right. Jasmine, Lance, and Red were the only parts of it that were tough. Nothing else could really be considered a challenge. And if I had gotten to level 100 instead of 74 to take on Red, I could have definitely won with 0 issue. I really liked having this easy run, and I even skipped a ton of trainer battles in the Kanto part of the game, just to make sure I wasn't overleveled. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm also on Twitter at CoachMaxYouTube, and I just had a poll up where you guys got to pick which Hitmon I chose in my Pokemon Blue Nuzlocke. I think the poll is over now. I really don't know. And until next time, see you later!